This is Dr. with CMN presenting Angel on Talk on Birthmark. So, tell me about yourself, Angel.
My name is Angel Bermudez. I am 45 years old. I live in Southern California in the city of Bellflower. I was born with a giant nevus covering 3/4 of my scalp. It covered part of my forehead, my right ear, my right cheek, and the entire back portion of my neck. I've had partial removal. As you can see, it was removed from my forehead. It came all the way out close to my mouth, and they removed it and they pulled it back. I had all skin grafts. That was the only option at the time when I was 5 years old. They removed it from my ear, and they removed it from the back portion of my neck. I still have it intact on my scalp. I get biopsies whenever I have new lumps growing in. So far, all of my biopsies have come back benign. Had anywhere between 3 to 4 surgeries on every year as a child in my single-digit years. So from the ages of 5 to 9, I had up to 4 surgeries a year. Each time I was in the hospital for this, I was in the hospital for 1 month at a time. So 4 months out of the year, up to 4 months of the year, I would be in the hospital. In my double-digit years, starting at the age of 10 to 18, I had anywhere between 1 to 3 surgeries. The portion of the nevus that was on my forehead was so heavy that it closed my eye. So I did have brow lifts until they removed that portion. I had a couple of other issues outside of nevus as well. I was born with missing a bone in my head. So they removed one of my ribs and placed it in my head. I now have a metal piece covering the section where that bone was placed. I started getting dizzy spells as a preteen, and I'm not positive if it's related to the nevus or not. They can last from minutes to hours to days to weeks.
So, how's your life in your country related to the navies?
As a child, it was more difficult versus being an adult with it.
Were you bullied in your childhood?
Yes. In my first year of school, in kindergarten, I was. No one wanted to talk to me. The kids didn't want to talk to me. They didn't want to play with me. When my mom had a birthday party for me, the kids only went because their parents made them. And it was obvious that they didn't want to be there. My kindergarten year was the most difficult of my school years. When I started getting older, it became a little bit easier in my elementary school years, primary school. And then when I went on to junior high, it became a little bit easier. I started, I did become angry at some point. And so when kids, I did have the occasional people saying stuff and staring and pointing and whispering. So whenever I did see that, whenever I did notice it, I would say mean things to them because I was tired of it. And now as an adult, when I see people staring, it doesn't faze me. It doesn't bother me anymore, unless I'm having a bad day.
Because we are immune with these questions that they continue to ask us, that what is it, and even the mean questions, we are so immune to those questions that we know that some or the other day someone will say, so it doesn't matter much, I think.
Yeah, if someone comes up to me and is genuinely asking me, because you can tell if someone comes up to you and says, what happened to you? Versus, hey, do you mind me asking what happened? What is that? There's a difference in the tone and the way it's presented, the question. So if I know they're genuine, if they have the time, I'll explain it to them.
Future plans, or where do you see yourself in some future years?
I see myself continuing on with being a part of the Nevus outreach group. I don't ever plan on departing from the group for any reason. It's one of the reasons that I've been able to become stronger and become a little bit more vocal. The group itself, the members in the group, and attending the conferences has provided me or helped me with self-confidence. So as far as the group, as far as the Nevus is, that's where I stand with that. Continuing working, continuing educating people as they request it, and just living life. And
When you were born, did the Nevus, you were covered with Nevus all over the face from the birth?
yes.
So your parents consulted doctor from just after your birth, or did they consulted the doctor some years later?
No, my mom consulted a doctor right away. And at the time, I was born in 1975. So at the time, the doctor had suggested that I wait until I was 5 years old to have my first surgery. And my mom went with the doctor's recommendation. She took me to Children's Hospital in LA, in Los Angeles. That doctor wanted to send me out to New York. Financially, that wasn't an option. So we did find a doctor who was familiar with Nevus. So I was then sent to a private hospital, and that's where I had all my surgeries done. I was fortunate enough to find a doctor who was familiar with Nevus, because from my understanding from the Nevus support group, many parents, doctors that they see don't know what a Nevus is. So I was one of the fortunate ones.
How do you see your patient journey? Was it too difficult, complicated, or you can say that it went smoothly?
For the surgeries,
Yep, the whole of the patient journey from the birth till here.
it had some rocky roads, but overall, I think overall it was okay. It was okay with the surgeries, the recovery time, the life after, life after coming out of the hospital. It was just, I just had to readjust my days, simply for healing time.
Was it very painful after the surgeries?
Basically, some days were. As a child, I was supposed to stay in my room. Sometimes I stayed in the room, and sometimes I bounced back pretty quickly, and I was running around in the hospital looking for kids to play with.
So here we come to our last questions. Any advice or something you want to say to the people with Nevus or without them?
To the people without Nevus, what I would say is, if you see someone with a difference, to not stare, to not whisper, to not point. But if you're genuinely curious about it, approach the person and ask. Genuinely ask, do you mind me asking what this is? Because it can be difficult on the person that has the Nevus or other birthmark. Frustrations, anger can build up, and it's not good for the person with the Nevus or different birthmark. So just be courteous and be kind. Picture yourself with whatever it is that you see that the person has, and take into consideration how you would feel. Put yourself in their shoes and treat the person the way you would.